Blue and red strobes flashed over my hydrangeas as a 14-year-old in basketball shorts shouted into his phone with theatrical urgency. "He's barricaded himself." The kid's voice boomed, likely to a very unimpressed dispatcher on speaker. The barricade was my 6-foot cedar privacy gate, locked, on my property, because I don't run a public park. The responding officer took one look, slid the latch open, clacked it twice, and turned to the kid with the weary patience of a seasoned cop. "Son," he said, "this is how gates work." The kid started to argue, but the officer raised a hand and asked for the property owner. That was me, Nolan Pierce, standing on my porch, coffee in hand, watching this circus unfold on my lawn. Let me back up. I'm a quiet analyst by trade, a hobby woodworker on weekends, and a coffee drinker at what my neighbors might call scandalous decibels. I moved to Cedar Crest Meadows for 2 reasons: mature trees and the promise of discreet community living. Instead, I got Tricia Malloy, HOA president, who wore visors like battle helmets and wielded her clipboard like a traffic baton with legal authority. Her teenager, Brandon, led a pack of middle schoolers treating our cul-de-sac like a BMX arena, cutting through my side yard, trampling flower beds, and leaving tire tracks in the grass. So, I installed a cedar gate to stop my yard from being their personal highway. It matched the fence, used quality hardware, and was stained to complement my house. Tricia called it hostile architecture. I called it a gate. Then came the notes, printed cards on HOA letterhead tucked into my door. Gates discourage community flow, one read, as if my property were a public sidewalk. Then the fines: $50 for unneighborly access reduction, $75 for visual obstinacy, $100 for an unauthorized latch. Each bore Tricia's looping signature and a yellow highlighted payment deadline. She'd lean into my open garage to lecture me about porous yards and neighborhood connectivity, tossing around terms like circulation patterns and pedestrian easement with the confidence of a half-watched city planning documentary. Tricia took it online, posting to our neighborhood forum with foghorn subtlety: "Some people lock their gates. Thoughts?" She screenshotted only the replies agreeing with her, printing them to leave on my windshield. Brandon tested the latch like a raccoon, yanking and jiggling it, leaving 14 sharp Italian marks scratched on my fence. Tricia herself showed up with a yardstick, measured my gate with absurd precision, and declared it 1 inch too freedom negative. When I asked what that meant, she said I'd know when the fine arrived. I sent her my architectural review committee approval and gate photos. Her reply? Approvals can be spiritually revoked. I read that 5 times, searching for satire. There was none. Saturday, it all boiled over. Brandon and his crew barreled down the hill on their bikes, aiming for my side yard. The gate was locked. From my garage, I watched Brandon discover this, performing a Shakespearean gasp. He rattled the gate, then called 911, reporting illegal blocking of a public passageway. I heard him from my driveway: "Yes, it's an emergency. He won't let us through." The dispatcher asked, "Through what?" "His gate," Brandon said, as if that explained everything. Tricia arrived, clutching a wrinkled 1998 photocopy of a walking path that was never built. She told the officer my gate captured community land and my yard was an easement. She cited community memory and historical precedent when asked for proof. Then she slipped, admitting she'd tested the lock herself 3 times that week, explaining the fresh scratches around the latch. The officer asked if she'd tried opening a locked gate on private property. Tricia replied, "It's community adjacent." I excused myself, retrieved my receipts, not emotional ones, actual ones, a plat map with a county recorder's stamp, my survey from 8 months ago, the HOA bylaws permitting owner-maintained gates, and the ARC approval with Tricia's signature. The officer radioed county zoning, who confirmed no easement existed on my lot. I showed ring camera footage, Tricia with a butter knife at the latch, Brandon yanking the gate, and Tricia whispering to him, "If it breaks, it was loose." We found it that way. The officer's eyebrows nearly escaped his face. He asked Tricia if she'd like to revise her statement. She said the camera angle was misleading. 2 weeks later, Cedar Crest held a special meeting. Half the neighborhood came for the drama, half for the Costco cookies. I'd requested the meeting per the bylaws, prepared slides, and presented my case. Slide 1, the plat map, showing the path as proposed, abandoned in 1999. Slide 2, bylaws permitting gates and locks. Slide 3, a 2-minute ring footage compilation of Trisha and Brandon's gate testing saga. Slide 4, a county letter stating 911 misuse and attempted trespassing risks. Slide 5, Trisha's $475 in fines, with my request for reimbursement and an apology. The board's attorney explained tortious interference, harassment, and abuse of authority, noting HOA liability risks. The vote to rescind my fines passed 7-0. Trisha abstained, claiming bias. A motion to censure Trisha for instructing minors to trespass and to revoke her president perks, storage shed key, parking spot, $100 monthly stipend, passed 6-1. Trisha's best friend voted no. Trisha lost her presidency that night and gained a civil injunction, requiring her and Brandon to stay 5 feet from my fence. The filing fee cost her $300. The HOA issued a respect the gate policy, with my latch as the example and the updated guidelines. Brandon now bikes the long way around the cul-de-sac, adding 2 minutes to his route. As part of his court-ordered community service, he repaints the fences he and his friends tested, 40 hours total. Trisha sat frozen as the board collected her key, placard, and clipboard, her visor askew, staring at the cookie tray she could no longer reach from her new seat in the back.